The story begins at an old temple. A frightened man enters the temple with a child to offer prayers. The temple looks ancient and spooky, like no one has set foot there for centuries. Yet, strangely, the sound of drums echoes through the air. Suddenly, a massive deity awakens. The drum beats are not music, they are the sound of this god's heartbeat. This god has risen to unleash hellish torment upon humanity. We then see a man named Guan who is searching for his daughter, Tangerine, inside a mysterious ancient cave. From deep within, he hears her screaming. Suddenly, a bright light appears, and the deity materializes in front of him, stopping him from going any further. Then, Guan wakes up. It was all a dream. His daughter, Tangerine, was kidnapped 6 years ago and has never been found. Since then, he has devoted his entire life to finding her. He gave up everything: his home, his career, even his wife. One day, sitting on a hill by the roadside, Guan sees a truck and starts pelting it with stones. His aim is perfect. He smashes the windshield, and the truck crashes. Guan climbs down and attacks the driver, demanding to know where his daughter is. But the driver's partner strikes Guan on the head, knocking him unconscious. They flee on foot. When Guan regains consciousness, he opens the back of the truck and is shocked to find several children locked in cages. Guan has accidentally uncovered a child trafficking ring. He desperately checks all the cages, hoping to find Tangerine, but she isn't among them. Just then, the police arrive and mistake Guan for one of the traffickers. They arrest him. In the back of the police car, with his hands cuffed, Guan falls asleep and sees another dream. This time, he sees Tangerine trapped in black, swampy vines. He jolts awake and realizes the police have taken the photo of Tangerine from his pocket. Enraged, he attacks a police officer, grabs the photo back, and escapes. He runs onto a road and jumps into a car without thinking. The driver is a woman named Ling, who strangely knows everything about him, including the disappearance of his daughter. She promises to help Guan find Tangerine. The story then flashes back to ancient times. A warrior named Kong is fleeing from a group of attackers led by an old man. When Kong reaches the top of a cliff, they surround him. Just as he's about to be captured, his sister appears and pushes him off the cliff to save him. Before doing so, she tells him to head west. She then stays behind to fight the attackers alone. Kong manages to climb back up later, only to find that the old man and his group have killed his sister. Furious, Kong draws his spear and charges at the old man. The man warns Kong that if he kills him, he'll never escape Lord Redmane. Ignoring the warning, Kong kills him anyway. After the fight, Kong is exhausted from constantly fleeing his enemies. He decides to face Lord Redmane, his greatest foe. Suddenly, the old man's armor begins to move. It is searching for a new master. It fuses with Kang's body and becomes a part of him. This armor is sentient and has chosen Kong as its next wielder. A glowing eye forms on his chest. Back in the present, Ling takes Guan to a building where she works. She shows him pictures of 5 young girls and asks if any of them are his daughter. But Guan cannot identify any of them. 6 years have passed since the abduction. Ling gets to the point. She can run a DNA test to help find Tangerine, but in return, Guan must work for her company. They know Guan has special powers. He can control the motion of objects he throws using his mind. Now, the company wants him to use these powers to kill a writer named Kong. This writer narrates his stories through live streams. The strange thing is, whenever Lord Redmane, a character in Kang's novels, gets hurt, something terrible happens to Ling's boss, Limu, in the real world. The company has tried everything to stop Kong, but failed. They now want Guan to eliminate him. Guan doesn't believe the story, but he's desperate to save his daughter and has no choice. The next day, with a new haircut and disguise, Guan travels to a small town where Kong lives. On the way, he listens to Kang's audiobooks and realizes that the people and events from his dreams match characters and plots from Kang's stories. Guan follows Kong all day, looking for a chance to kill him. Eventually, he tracks him to a library. But since they are the only 2 people there, Guan fails to hide. Kong confronts him and asks why he's been following him. Thinking quickly, Guan claims to be a huge fan of his novels. Kong is flattered and starts asking him many questions. Before Guan can answer, Ling calls and tells him to kill Kong immediately. But Guan refuses and continues to follow Kong. The 2 begin talking again, but suddenly a car from Ling's company tries to run them both over. Guan escapes, but his diary, where he records his dreams, is left behind. Kong picks it up and reads it. Inspired, he gets a new idea to continue his story. Now the narrative shifts again to the dream world. Kong is in a city celebrating a grand festival. At the center of it is a massive statue of Lord Redmane, being worshipped like a deity. Seeing such a large crowd, Kong was stunned. Just then, the statue pointed toward a nearby village, and all the people picked up their weapons and rushed in that direction. Kang's armor told him that Lord Redmane had destroyed many such villages. This god was provoking his worshippers to go to war. The villagers tried their best to defend themselves, but suddenly, 3 dragons rained burning lava from the sky onto them. At the same time, soldiers began shooting flaming arrows, setting the entire village ablaze. The next morning, Lord Redmane's priests, dressed in red robes, came and took control of the village by terrifying the remaining villagers. After that, the story returns to the present. When Guan woke up, he found himself in a hotel room with Ling sitting in front of him. Ling asked what punishment he deserved for not completing his mission. Soon after, Kong came out of the hotel and returned Guan's diary, thanking him for inspiring his story. In the next scene, Guan took Kong for a walk under the pretense of just walking, but it was actually to kill him. During their conversation, Kong shared that in his dream world, he met a little girl who was trying to save her brother, but he was already dead. That girl was none other than Guan's daughter, Tangerine. Kong comforted her, and together they buried her brother. Tangerine told them that the red-robed soldiers were the ones who killed her brother and that they would kill anyone who stepped outside after sunrise. The same tune that Tangerine had played on the flute in the dream was heard by Kong in the real world while he was with Guan. But the sound of this tune attracted a red soldier because a curfew was in place after dark. No one was allowed outside. Kong made a dummy of Tangerine to distract the soldier so she could escape, thinking the dummy was a real girl. When the soldier reached Kong, Kong struck the helmet on his head. As the helmet broke open, it revealed Guan's face. He was now ready to kill Kong. But just as Guan was about to attack Kong, Tangerine appeared again and caught Guan's attention. However, this time, for some reason, Guan couldn't move. Taking advantage of this moment, Kong and Tangerine escaped. In the real world, while Kong was writing all this down, Guan came up behind him. Guan had seen the same dreams in his fantasy world that Kong had just written in his novel. Guan picked up a stone and attacked Kong, knocking him unconscious and sending him falling into a pit. Humming that same tune, he approached Kong to strike the final blow, just as Kong had written in his novel. But right then, in the middle of the road, he heard a child singing the same tune. How could this child possibly know it? Guan had only sung it for his daughter. He asked the child where he had heard the tune. Scared, the child ran off, and while chasing him, Guan felt exactly like the red soldier chasing Kong and Tangerine in the novel. The child managed to escape, but Guan ended up at a small party. Shockingly, there he found Tangerine's kidnapper partying with some friends. A fight broke out immediately. Guan used his powers to defeat them. He asked the kidnapper to tell the truth about his daughter. Scared, the kidnapper finally confessed. It turned out that while kidnapping Tangerine, they had overdosed her with drugs, which led to her death. They stuffed her body in a sack and left it to rot in a part of the hills. Enraged and devastated, Guan was about to strangle the kidnapper when Ling arrived, knocked Guan unconscious, and took him away in her car. When Guan regained consciousness, he told Ling that the kidnapper said his daughter was dead. Limu, Ling's boss, overheard everything and ordered Ling to lie to Guan, tell him his daughter was alive and the kidnapper was lying. But Ling hesitated. She didn't want to stoop so low just for personal gain. Guan then told Ling that he would kill Kong, and she shouldn't worry about that. He just wanted the kidnapper brought to him, so he could kill him himself. He asked her to get him out of police custody. Later, we see Ling's boss furious with her because she didn't lie to Guan as instructed. Meanwhile, in that imaginary world, Kong and Tangerine had reached the city after escaping the Red Soldier. They had seen many innocent people die in the battle. When they reached Tangerine's house, they learned her family had died some time ago because they went outside during the curfew. While they were talking, some of Lord Redman's followers broke in and tried to kill them. Kong jumped forward to protect Tangerine, which surprised his armor. "Look at you, acting like a hero now," the armor remarked. In the real world, Kong met Guan on the rooftop of a building, unaware that the man who had attacked him earlier was Guan himself. Guan realized that Kong had cast him as the Red Soldier in his novel. This explained the head injury Guan had, matching the injury the soldier received in the story during the fight with the kidnapper. When Guan looked at Kang's notebook, he realized that all the strange visions he was having were written in Kang's novel. Shockingly, Tangerine was also a living character in the story. It became clear that, unintentionally, Kong had created a parallel universe through his novel, and whatever he wrote began happening in the real world. Kong explained that in the last chapter, he and Tangerine were surrounded by Lord Redman's soldiers. Guan suggested that no matter what, they must win the fight. The story then shifted back to the imaginary world, where Kong was preparing to fight the soldiers. Suddenly, Kang's armor detached from his body and transformed into a creature capable of creating any weapon it wanted. The armor cut through the crowd, advancing ahead. Kong joined the battle and soon realized the armor operated according to his will because his blood was inside it. He struck the armor on its chest and said, "I'm your master, understood? You'll act according to me." Meanwhile, in the real world, Guan called Ling and said that now he would save Kong, but only if she had the guts to try and stop him from saving the boy. He did this because he wanted to save Tangerine in the novel. Later, during their conversation, Kong told Guan that his father and Limu used to be business partners once. And then one day, his father suddenly died in an accident. Ling was quietly listening to their conversation and realized that Limu was the one who had killed Kang's father, and now to hide the truth, he also wanted to kill Kong. In anger, Ling called Limu and demanded the truth, but Limu didn't answer and hung up. A little later, as Ling was walking back to her car, suddenly one of Limu's men stunned her with an electric shock and threw her into the back seat of the car. Meanwhile, Guan and Kong went to a library where Kong was about to write the final chapter of his novel, and Guan was fully prepared to protect him from anyone who might try to interrupt. In that imaginary world, Kong and Tangerine reached Lord Redmane's palace, where they saw thousands of Red Soldier mannequins. Kong realized that this was why Redmane's people enforced curfew, because after sunset, these Red Soldiers turned into statues. At the same time, Limu's thugs reached the library, and Guan used his powers to confront them. But one of Limu's men had the power to control electricity. He threw water on Guan, causing him to fall to the floor, and then electrocuted him through the wet floor. Guan couldn't fight him directly, so he hid, then waited for the right moment, wore rubber gloves, and attacked so he wouldn't get shocked. Afterward, Guan faced another attacker who was extremely strong, and Guan couldn't match his strength. Luckily, Ling managed to free herself and arrived just in time to help. Together, they defeated the attacker. In the imaginary world, Kong and Tangerine finally reached Lord Redmane, a huge creature with 4 arms. Here it was revealed that Kong was actually the son of Redmane's brother, whom Redmane had killed long ago. This story mirrored real life, where Limu had killed Kang's father, and they were also business partners like brothers. Upon learning this, Kong was furious and challenged Redmane to a fight. Redmane showed him a tree outside where Kang's father was buried. The battle began. The armor once again transformed into a creature capable of forming any weapon it wanted, so both Kong and the armor could fight Redmane together. But even together, they couldn't do any serious damage to Redmane. Just as Redmane was about to kill a badly wounded Kong, Tangerine began playing that same flute tune her father had taught her to use in moments of danger. However, this enraged Redmane even more, and he grabbed Tangerine and swallowed her into his stomach. In the real world, a third thug entered the library and stabbed Kong with a knife, and no one even noticed. Soon, Guan and Ling found him and, after killing the attacker, rushed Kong to the hospital. Guan looked at Kang's laptop and wondered how to finish the novel. Just then, Limu entered the room and revealed his plan. He had intended for both Kong and Guan to die together, so it would look like they had killed each other. This story would be believable because the police would find Tangerine's name in Kang's novel, making it seem like Guan suspected Kong had kidnapped his daughter and killed him over it. Now Limu wanted Kang's laptop, but Guan refused to give it to him because he was going to finish the story himself. Back in the fantasy world, just as Redmane was about to kill Kong, suddenly a Red Soldier showed up and started firing a machine gun at Redmane. This soldier was none other than Guan, who had come to save his daughter. The gunfire injured Redmane. Meanwhile, Kong noticed a weapon hanging in the center of Redmane's forehead. He figured it might be his weakness and tried to pull it out. The Red Soldier helped him, and together they tore Redmane's body apart using that weapon. Their plan worked. The monstrous creature was finally defeated, and as he died, Tangerine was freed from the prison inside his stomach. At last, father and daughter were reunited in that world. Meanwhile, in reality, Ling was reading how Guan had ended the novel, and as soon as Redmane died in the story, Limu also died in real life. In the end, Guan once again heard that flute tune and rushed outside the hospital to see. He spotted the same boy he had been chasing before, but this time, the boy was accompanied by a girl who was none other than his daughter, Tangerine. Father and daughter were finally reunited. Kong survived as well. Now this is the ending. See you in the next video.